What up, what up, what up, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red, and we're back for another one. Alright, y'all, so what's the topic of today? Alright, y'all, so the topic of today is Justin Fortune airs out Freddie Roach for the Pacquiao versus Ugas loss. Alright, y'all, so it's been a couple weeks now since Pacquiao went down to Yordenis Ugas in a very close matchup. And, a lot of things have come out in the meantime surrounding the Pacquiao camp. And, I said it before the fight. I felt like the whole thing was a mess. I felt like it was a setup fight. And now that all this stuff is coming out, we're finding out really how tumultuous the behind the scenes was for the Pacquiao camp. Now, in the past week or so, it's come out that Pacquiao only had about 10 minutes to warm up for his fight with you guys. But according to Justin Fortune, 30 minutes before the fight, there was some type of massage applied to Pacquiao's legs. For what reason, I don't know. And Justin Fortune was saying this in the article I'm referencing, that you never are supposed to fool with a fighter the day of the fight. Like, he shouldn't be sparring, he shouldn't be running, he shouldn't be hitting no heavy bags. He just focus on the fight, making weight and focusing on the fight. Uh, and he said why, Roach decided to have the massage guy come in and fool with Pacquiao's legs 30 minutes before the fight. He doesn't know the answer to that. And then on the other hand, you have Freddie Roach saying that Justin Fortune is the reason Pacquiao overtrained, which I can't agree with that because the facts are the facts. Pacquiao was already training in the Philippines, weeks and weeks and weeks before the you guys fight, before the Spence fight, and in anticipation of a fight with Terrence Crawford. People are forgetting about this, that Pacquiao said, weeks and weeks and weeks, a couple of months before that he was already working out and training in the Philippines. There was footage and everything that came out of him running and, shadow boxing and all this stuff in the Philippines. So I can't agree with Freddie Roach that it was Justin Fortune's fault that he overtrained. I think they were just trying to be extra prepared because Pacquiao took 2 years off. And I don't think the fact that he was training for so long is the reason he caught cramps. I do feel like the overtraining might have tired him out a little bit, but I don't feel like that's the reason he caught cramps. Now, Freddie Roach is trying to say that Justin Fortune ran Pacquiao too much the week of the fight. And Justin Fortune came out and said, well, according to this article, he said Pacquiao, the week of the fight, I think Thursday ran, took off running for 20 minutes, and then Friday ran 20 minutes on the treadmill. And according to other people, and according to what Freddie Roach said, he was running in the mountains that week. Justin Fortune is not owning up to that part, so I don't know if that part is true. Freddie Roach, sometimes he goes off on little rants and stuff, so he might have threw some stuff in there that actually happened, but might not have happened within the time frame of what they were talking about. So it's a lot of confusion going on in the camp of Manny Pacquiao. And I will say this, every time Pacquiao takes an L, it's always some confusion or something shady going on in the background of that L that kind of made it, all come into fruition, not in Pacquiao's favor. And I feel like this. I think if Pacquiao, because Justin Fortune saying he doesn't want to work with Freddie Roach anymore, which is crazy, because I thought they had mended their little problem. They had a problem after another one of Pacquiao's fights to where Fortune stopped working with Pacquiao and Roach. So I'm not sure if, the Freddie Roach, Justin Fortune aspect played a role. I think it was just a disaster waiting to happen. The whole fight was a disaster waiting to happen. And from the way that the you guys got announced, to what was going on in Pacquiao's camp, to bad timing with a massage, to Justin Fortune running this guy a little bit too much, and it's just all a disaster waiting to happen. But the one thing I do hear from pretty much everybody except for Freddie Roach, which kind of blows my mind, is that they don't think that Pacquiao should retire on that note. Like Justin Fortune was saying, I hope and pray Pacquiao doesn't retire on this note. I want to work with him for the rematch. How they gonna work that out, I don't know. With him not wanting to work with Freddie Roach, but Freddie Roach is the only one who's come out and say, "Hey, Pacquiao's doing it. He's just going to hang it up. It's about that time." But he's always had that kind of like nonchalant, whatever he decides to do, go on and do it. Type of attitude when it comes to Pacquiao since the Mayweather loss, which I've been on the fence about Freddie Roach since they broke up after the Mayweather fight. I've kind of felt like Freddie Roach is kind of he's playing both sides of the fence because he is a trainer, so he has to be on one hand loyal to the fighters, but on the other hand he has to play nice with the promoters, or he's never going to work for anybody. So I kind of feel like, almost in a way, if you wanted to manipulate Freddie Roach, it would be very easy to do it because he does have to play nice with the promoters. In order to get to certain fighters and be able to train certain fighters, he has to have a good working relationship with all the promoters, even Bob Arum. And we know Pacquiao has no working relationship with Bob Arum anymore. But Freddie Roach still does. So I almost feel like he's more loyal to the promoters than he is to the fighters. And I think that conflicts with his training of Pacquiao. It for lack of a better word, I think that conflicts with his ability to train Pacquiao. Because I think on one hand, he probably has promoters in his ear, like, "Hey man, if such and such happens, then we're not gonna let you work with this fighter or that fighter, or you're not gonna be able to train." And he doesn't make money at that point. So I would say it would be extremely easy, not to put that on Freddie Roach, but I think it would be extremely easy to manipulate Freddie Roach, being that he has to have these working relationships with all these promoters. And I also feel like this, because of that conflict of interest, I think it's time for Pacquiao to start completely over. I think he was on the right path in the Lucas Matisse fight, promoting his own fights, having Boo Boy as his trainer, and running his camp the way he wants to run his camp. I think because there are so many moving pieces to Team Pacquiao, it might be time to slim it down and just have one or two working pieces. Because I think it's causing too much conflict and too much conflict of interest within the camp. And it's causing them to lose fights they shouldn't lose because of all this conflict of interest. No shade to Freddie Roach. I just feel like it's time for Pacquiao to move on from Freddie Roach. I don't think Freddie Roach mistrained him or mishandled him. I think Freddie Roach, if you watch that pay-per-view, Freddie Roach was in almost every fight. So there was no way he could have been focused on that Pacquiao fight. There's no way he could have trained all of those fighters to the best of their potential, being that he was in pretty much everybody's corner, is what I'm trying to say. So, being that Freddie Roach has so much on his table, I think it's time for Boo Boy to be the point man. I think Pacquiao needs to have more say so within his corner. He needs to be able to communicate with his coach in the corner, and I think the communication with Freddie Roach is breaking down. Him trying to communicate through Boo Boy, and then Boo Boy trying to communicate it back to Pacquiao. I think that's just too many working parts in the corner, and they need to slim it down. Just go ahead and make Boo Boy the point man. Maybe you have Freddie Roach giving pointers up until the fight night, but Boo Boy is still the point man. I think that would work a whole lot better in Pacquiao's favor. I hate to see Team Pacquiao break up, but it might be time for Team Pacquiao in some ways to break apart and people start taking on different responsibilities. Because I definitely feel like this. I think Pacquiao will come back. I think he's going to rematch you guys. I think Boo Boy is going to be the main guy. And I think he has a lot better chance of giving a whole lot more crowd friendly performance. Even though he gave a great performance in the first fight, this fight I think should be very crowd pleasing. And I think Pacquiao is going to put himself back in position to challenge either Earl Spence or Terrence Crawford. I think it works out great for fans because we get to see Pacquiao for a smidget more time. We get to see one of the greatest fighters of our generation for a little bit more time. Let me know what y'all think about that, man. Hit that like button for me. Please subscribe. We'll be dropping a lot more content. I had to take a little break, man. Some personal stuff to tend to, so. But I'm back now, man. What y'all think? What y'all think? What y'all think? It's your boy Cardinal Red, man. And we are out of here. I think we're out of here.